think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
Do not trust any friends or family members. I repeat, do not.
Yeah, he is just that. Doesn't he look like that big fucking lion? He's just he's a fat, funny guy that turned into like a religious cuck. And you can just see him sniveling now. I see a snivel.
Yeah. Shameful. It's shameful.
It lacks honor.
There you go. He picked it up.
I was thinking to myself too. Other little small segue. With a basic training camp, I could fucking beat Zuckerberg. I'm saying it right here.
If you're listening, Zucky, you're on notice. Yeah, I don't think you could.
I could go to work. Yeah, I could do it while I was working. I don't need money, I'm just sick of these rich guys. I'm sick of Tom Hardy. I'm sick of Zucky. You have unlimited wealth and time, so you can do a training camp. Congratulations. You know what? Bullshit. I call fucking bullshit on it. I'm like, anybody can get a cardio level up if you have unlimited time and money and compete and beat a bunch of fucking old housewife dads. No problem. But it's anybody with any natural aptitude, it's not going to fucking happen. This is ridiculous. And I've had it. And God forbid, if I had actually the money to pull out of work, I could ruin his life.
Oh, wow.
I think I could flat out just beat him with a standard training camp on my own time.
I love that. I don't agree with that, but that's okay.
You just saw that topless pic of him. You got a little intimidated. That's nothing.
I think that's it. I was like, I don't want to get in the ring with that.
Yeah, he's I was on a little juice too. That's.
Oh, you think he's on the juice at all? I don't. He doesn't strike me as a juicer, but he definitely could be. It's not like it's cheating.
Oh yeah, it's probably fancy juice. Come on, he's like a gajillionaire or whatever.
Yeah. Just got that good physio.
I'm saying the testosterone's topped up. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. He is wildly unimpressive, however, for the amount of money and time that he has.
Good grief, yeah.
Yeah, I just like watching him throw punches and stuff. He is training and he is doing stuff, but you're just like, Jesus Christ, dude! Like, stop it! Like, don't put a camera.
It's like
on.
It was like watching CM Punk train. Come on.
Yeah. There's a deep cut for absolutely nobody who listens to a podcast about comics.
Yeah.
Shout out if you know who CM Punk is without looking it up on Google.
Yeah. Just, you know what? I bet you'd be surprised. Hit us back. Hit us back.
Yeah.
See if this makes the cut. It usually doesn't.
I think it's going to have to because we were about to transition to.
And that was going to transition to say, sometimes even though you're poor, you can probably fight.
You definitely can.
Some guys can.
Yeah. So today on the Extinction Agenda with James and James, we're touching on a modern day, classic, real masterpiece here. Takashi Miike's remake of Harakiri from 2011. The original movie was like 62 or something like that. Yeah.
Wow, why did I think it was 2019? Maybe my printing of it.
Oh yeah. This movie has been out for a while. So yeah, I guess it must be your printing. This is a year out from having made 13 Assassins. So 13 Assassins was 2010. And just for reference, like Ichi the Killer, like the kind of things that put Takashi on the map is from 2001. So he's the same year he made a movie called Ninja Kids, which is like this. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's like these are the two movies he made this year, Harakiri and Ninja Kids !
Yeah, and I guess he included that Death of a Samurai at the end of his remake or whatever, right?
That does appear to be the case. I mean, I haven't read the original Japanese, so I don't know. Maybe it would have. The original title of the 1962 movie was Seppuku, and so I guess theoretically this should also be called Seppuku. Um, and yeah, like I haven't seen the original from 1962. I think I already said that. But my understanding is that this movie hems pretty close to it, except for some Takashi Miike flourishes, which are quite memorable. Really fucking awful, indeed. I'd seen this movie before. I watched this when I was in Florence doing research for my dissertation.
Really?
And I watched it in like bedroom alone. I had no idea what I was getting in for. I knew it was going to be good. It's a Takashi Miike movie.
Because we like the director. We have since we were,
youngins.
Yeah, since 2001.
Yeah, even before, I would imagine. And anyway, but I was not prepared for. I remember vaguely being like, I'm really taken with this movie, but I hadn't rewatched it since, and until now.
I'm really wowed. I'm actually super pleased I bought a copy of it for this, and I'm so happy I did, because it's just gonna go on in my shelf. I'm super pleased with it. It's just got the build's what killed me. I couldn't believe the build, like the story, like when because they open up with I guess you want to talk about it. They open up with the grotesquerie, right?
Not quite. I mean, like, because I'm seeing the grotesquerie.
Well, there's a little slow build to the not a real slow build though. It does not a lot of time before it goes
takes
down.
A half hour.
There's a lot of anxiety though.
Yeah. No, I'm at the 28-minute mark, and only now is he starting to stab himself in the stomach with that bamboo.
The suicide bluff.
Yeah. Fuck. No, the framing device, like it is an interesting framing device, or it's a very simple one. It's the what's the main guy's Henshiro, who's basically like Wolverine. He shows up at the temple and asks to commit suicide, and then they're like, another one. He wants to commit suicide in the temple because he's been dishonored, or he's a Ronin, and we don't know anything. We just know that he showed up, and then they tell him the story about the most recent suicide attempt, and then so we have a story within a story, and then we cut back to the Wolverine character, and then we get another story within a story, which includes the suicide, like the other samurai, and it tells the story of how these two fallen samurai are intertwined, and what it is that brought the Wolverine character Henshiro to this temple to commit suicide, supposedly, but it turns out to be a revenge film at the end.
Yeah, and he ends up being the father of sort of a revenge film, like high moral standing revenge, sort of.
Yeah. Well, like yeah, it's basically a sort of a suicide, but which is also a revenge, which is also like you're right, like a high moral, like a stripping away of the honor of the house, or an attempt to sort of symbolically, show that they are without honor, and that he is a true samurai.
And that was kind of that was kind of the dark. Well, I'm gonna skip straight to the end quick.
Sure.
That was the dark. I feel like that was the darkest moment. Was that like they get their visit, I guess, from the Shogun or one of the retainers or whatever at the end, and and there's no honor lost at all. I mean, I guess they would all have lost their honor in their hearts to know that they're just a sham of people. They're not even any warriors in them. They're just propped up by money. It's a joke. It's not. There's no honor. There's no, and I feel like that's a deep cut for the culture to have a go at that.
Well, particularly in 1962 when this was first developed. So this concept of we'll go back to what you just described, because there's lots of things to sort of dig into there. But so I've been reading a book, shout out to friend, very good friend of the podcast, Jason, who's been, him and I have been watching samurai movies, and I've been reading about samurai and just trying to really get a grasp on this topic. And I've been reading a book called Inventing the Way of the Samurai: Nationalism, Internationalism, and Bushido in Modern Japan. And it's basically the story of like how the modern concept of Bushido and the samurai was born. You know, like it everybody acts as if because of this national myth that emerged, like they act as if the samurai were like this. Like, you know, there was this code of honor and all this stuff. But these things are largely historical, like they're products of myth from the 19th century. You know, certain Japanese cultural theorists were thinking about chivalry, English knights, that kind of thing. And so they transposed that sort of chivalric code onto the old samurai warrior class and created this whole, it's not completely invented. I want to be clear about that, not like out of whole cloth, but they mythologized it, the history. And so movies like Seven Samurai and movies like Seppuku or Harakiri are attempts to do exactly what you just said, which is like, so during the war or prior to the war, this code of Bushido was inculcated into the education system of Japan, and obviously had a role in World War II, you know, kamikaze fighters and all that shit. And these filmmakers are attempting to sever that connection between the nation and Bushido, and to show that they're, you know, like the samurai is not the heart of Japan. The samurai is, you know, perhaps could be, but certainly isn't. It's corrupt. It's an old bureaucratic class. You know, there's a criticism that they're trying to lay. And this movie is absolutely that, you know. So the Wolverine character, Henshiro, he in the end, like after he's fought pretty much everyone there with a bamboo sword, so fucking baller.
That was the big reveal when he takes the bamboo sword out.
Mm-hmm. And like clubs that guy right in the fucking head, and the guy's still dazed and can't even stand up. Anyway, he throws one of the samurai of this house into their ceremonial suit of armor, you know, which is meant to reflect the honor, the god of the house. And then what James was talking about is like the lord of the manor comes back, and he's been gone for like 2 years, I gather. And they've replaced the armor, they've polished it, and the guy notices, like the lord notices, like, oh, you polished it, and they're like, yes, it is our honor, you know. And it reminded me of the way that society, like, what, you know, like think of the housing crisis in America, like the subprime mortgage crisis or whatever, where like everything goes to shit, and it's revealed that the whole thing's a fucking house of cards. It's a big shit show, and everybody who ought to be prosecuted is just not going to get prosecuted. Basically, all they've done is, like, you know, they just prop up the suit of armor again, and they act like nothing happened. You know, some people get murdered and buried and forgotten, and, you know, and so it's a tale as old as time.
Yeah, that's what I was saying to you. The themes are just, you know, even though it's from the 60s, they're just as true today. It's just it's poverty, it's luck of the draw, it's family nepotism, it's capitalism, it takes on many forms and suppresses people just for no reason, just by lot in life or luck. And you know, there's always an arguing point for fighting back, you know, if you can't share enough to have dignity.
Yeah, I think definitely class is involved. Like this is very much about class. The samurai that are so there's Henshiro, and then Squire Jijiwa Matome, and they were part of a previously, like, so this, I don't know, I was looking at the historical backdrop of this too. I'll stop talking about history stuff because I'm certainly not an expert, but the story takes place in 1934 and 1935, and this is specifically during the rise of what's called the Tokugawa shogunate. And they issued at this time like laws of the military houses. And there's an edict that goes out in 1615 and then 1635. And this is when samurai as a class are sort of bureaucratized. Not at this precise moment, but I mean, like it's part of an ongoing process of them becoming part of a sort of a state apparatus rather than soldiers, is my understanding anyway. And so the fact that this movie takes place at the time of those edicts, it struck me as symbolic, because it's like you said, like all these guys in the house, whatever it is, I didn't write it down, under Saito, they're bureaucrats. They're just dignitaries, filling roles. They aren't really soldiers in the way that our Wolverine Henshiro is.
No, and they may be trained by old kind of expired soldiers, but even Saito, who is likely a military guy, you pick that up maybe from his limp is an old injury, but even that his ability to train is diminished. They're just pulling red tape, and you're basically your house and your samurai and your class is just propped up by basically who gets funding.
Yeah,
and
that's
who
exactly
doesn't.
It. Yeah.
So yeah.
And so the shogunate at this time was like, your house is out, your house is in, and so there's a shift in patronage at this time, and so it is these samurai who have been brought low, like they retain their aristocratic essence. The reason I point to class still is because the commoners, I mean, they still refer to themselves as commoners, like when they talk with this Henshiro guy, but he just makes umbrellas, like really rad umbrellas, but
yeah.
But and there's nothing rich about him, but he still retains the honorific. He carries his sword or whatever. Like there's still something symbolic attached to him, which is why it's not just, it isn't fully luck of the draw, because his decline, it would, no commoner would suddenly become a samurai, for instance. You still have to be within that category in order to be part of the lottery, so to speak.
Right. Yeah. And his decline isn't that of other people's.
Yes. Yeah.
Like he's still able to forge out a living, whether it's just he's fairly exceptional. So however you want to take that. But
yeah. And actually everything, and I would say even like things are potentially even on the up and up. Like his son, is it his son or is it daughter? Who did he adopt? Did he adopt the son?
He adopted the son. Yeah. He adopted the son from, I can't remember the other guy's name. That was basically the steward of his house. Yeah,
of the previous lord or whatever.
And the Motome. Freak, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that last name. Chijiwa. He's he's basically an adopted son, so he's happy to have him marry Miho, even though he has no status or class. He's sort of taking care of this family himself, but Miho's so frail that they just they couldn't skate by.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she had cancer or something like that. That's what that sort of looked like to me. Could have been anything though. I mean, like 17th century, fuck. But she wasn't frail at first, and so like things look like they're working out really well. Like they have a child. Henshiro is ecstatic. Like there's a family unit being forged here, and the son, Matome, he's a scholar. Like he's probably, he has dreams of working in the great house so he can pay off his debt.
Yeah, and he's a teacher.
Yeah, so they're upwardly mobile, theoretically. I mean, like all the sort of signs of upward mobility are there. However, they're, like many people are, shut down by illness, and it's just like, then that illness, contributes to the child gets very sick. The 3-year-old child. What's the kid's name? I didn't write that down. Fuck, they say his name enough.
Oh, fucking.
Shit. I'll
I
fast
don't
forward.
know.
Yeah. Oh
Kenji?
man. And then
Kenju?
yeah, just
Not Kenji?
no, here we go. There, well, he's dying right now. Oh Jesus. What a sad
Sad moment for us.
yeah.
The
The
baby
kid
was
dies.
a prop,
Yeah.
okay? Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, the baby was to give you the feels. They fridged the baby.
Yeah. Well, and then I guess the wife commits suicide. And so, okay, so we're getting ahead of ourselves. So while the wife is sick, so everything's falling apart, and he's Mitome, he's had to sell all of his books. He's just trying to make money to take care of his family. He gets so desperate that he ends up eating an egg off the ground, like they're starving. So he tries a suicide bluff, which is basically like he's a samurai. So he goes to the house and he says, "I need to kill myself." And I guess the plan is to show up, say you're going to kill yourself. The Lord gives you some money so that way you don't have to, and then you go.
Well, ideally, yeah, he looks at
Yeah.
you and he says, "You're just a boy, you're so
Mhm.
if there's I don't want to see an honorable samurai because the act of harakiri is a very honorable. So
Mhm.
either you saying that you want to do that, prior to them getting wind of it being a bluff,
Mhm.
is there were stories of people coming away with money,
Yeah.
then they catch wind that it's a bluff, so they want to make an example of him, so they send him out to commit suicide. But some of the guys are hot-headed and bitter, and they find out he's got a bamboo sword, so they basically fucking watch him try to do it with the bamboo sword.
Mhm. And so he has a bamboo sword because he's had to sell the blades of his sword in order to take care of his family, and so on the evening that his wife and child are ill, like this is when he goes to do the suicide thing, and he's successful. Oh God, is he successful? That takes a fucking long time. Dear listener, imagine stabbing yourself with a bamboo sword and trying to like slice your belly open. So unbeknownst to him, though, his child dies while this is occurring, and so as the child is dead, they bring in the dead body of the son, deliver the body along with the money that he was trying to earn, so that's useless, and then the wife commits suicide, and so all that's left, Hanshiro's left with nothing. Like his family is completely decimated by all these acts, these tragedies, which brings him, as we alluded to his revenge. He just plays stupid, but it's a year later that he does this. I didn't, maybe 9 months or whatever, but the flashbacks to 1930 or 1634, but then these events take place in 1930 or 1635.
It's funny too. You would think that, and that maybe speaks to the premeditated nature of what he did by attacking with intent to dishonor them.
Mm-hmm.
Because you would think that if it happened in the moment, and he did have a real sword when he first confronts the three guys that were there,
mm-hmm.
that played party to him, them basically forcing his son to try and kill himself with a bamboo sword before they crudely executed him.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you would think that he would have every motive to butcher them.
Yeah, but instead he decides to enact a symbolic revenge. Like his son had to use a bamboo sword. His son who died with honor, trying to rescue or maintain his family. And so Hanshiro takes up that same bamboo sword and takes the place of Mitome, sorry, and and then and then gets revenge as a symbolic Matome. But also for himself, he's not pretending to be his dead son, but like the fact that he picks up his dead son's former sword and does the deed, it's
yeah, he also like street beats these guys. It's really shameful.
Oh, like the three guys that he jumps.
Yeah.
God. Takes their top
they couldn't
knots.
do anything. He's like beating the guys. I'm pretty sure he broke some ribs on a couple of these guys by hitting them with the backside of his sword.
Yeah.
Like he just gave them it was pathetic, and they're trying to kill him.
Yeah.
And they're just incapable. They were incapable of touching him with a sword, which it really establishes him as well. And then he takes their hair out and disgraces them, so they have to go hide.
Yeah, and up until this point, we get the impression that he's murdered them, because there's all been these illusions that they haven't showed up to.
I have to say, as our resident fan of grotesquerie, I was a little randy for the idea that maybe he'd butchered them.
Yeah. No, though.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say, for somebody who should have been disappointed, I wasn't, because I believe because of the bamboo sword reveal, and because of the fact that he beat the dog shit out of their whole school for an hour.
Yeah, just exhausted the whole time. Oh shit! I forgot to mention the most interesting part about this movie. This was this was a 3D movie. Yeah, this is a 3D movie. Like, we don't get the 3D effects in the DVD or whatever, but like you would they played it at Cannes as a 3D movie. So like when the snow falls and stuff, it probably looked fucking awesome.
Yeah, I can see some deliberate things now.
Yeah.
Now you saying that, thinking back, like where like shots that I would have thought were a little odd, maybe.
Yeah, it's so and like it sort of explains to me, because there are Lynchian elements to this. At the beginning, like it opens up with that bull demon. There's a lot of slow panning shots, or you're left to look at something in a way that I don't associate with Takashi Miike. But I haven't seen all 100 movies that he's made or whatever, so.
Well, I thought his shots were gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
The season changing shots, and just panning out from buildings, the sort of demon armor.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, and there's the score adds to the dread. The costuming's excellent.
There's a lot of dread, hours of dread. The movie felt so long. It's 2 hours long, and I was like, oh my god, I just like, it wasn't even a long movie, and I felt like it just like they really put the pins to you, like to just want a resolution, and they really dig the story deep. Like, it's nauseating to see them break down and lose the whole family.
Yeah. And then the final, but then you get your chocolate at the end, you get your icing, because like it is a 15-minute final battle. Perhaps I see 18 minutes on the clock here, but I guess I take credits away. I'll say there's 15 minutes of him just beating the shit out of this entire house. And
yeah, they can't even stop them. They can't even stop him. He could have killed.
He would have killed like so many times.
The majority of them.
Yeah, they would, and that's sort of the beauty of it. Like he's emasculating them in a sense, the samurai is the man, and if you just beat them all down and show that they like,
well, there's
their lives, symbolically.
Yeah, and there's an underlying feeling to that too, because there are too many witnesses.
Yeah, exactly.
There's too many witnesses to this act. It would come from someone's lips. Eventually, there would be a story. Eventually, there'll be a rumor, and for me, you just know that the victory lies in that.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Like, yeah, of course, because this movie ends with, okay, well, I'll say that the movie doesn't give you that, but
the movie doesn't give you that. It's true, but I feel
yeah.
like it's planted. Look at the guys that drop off his son's body.
Mm-hmm.
They spill their fucking guts.
Yeah.
There's always a guy that spills his guts.
Yeah, and
the movie does give you that.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, implied in all of this is, like, although they're going to suppress the truth of what happened and the we'll call it dishonor that has been brought to their house, they'll never, someone's going to get drunk and like, I saw the damnedest thing,
or they're going to tell their wife. It's just enough. It's just enough to start to plant the seed, seed of doubt, and not to mention all the men that train with Saito and just like get up in the morning and close their eyes and just imagine being beaten by this guy, this street guy that was just that much better than all of them.
Yeah.
That even their sensei was terrified to go near.
Yeah.
Just like sent his booming voice from the background like a bitch.
Yeah.
all he could do is stand and witness this guy take his whole fucking house apart.
Yeah.
With a fucking wooden stick.
Yeah. Yeah, and they all gotta like talk to each other the next day. Like that sort of repression will poison them in a way, because like they're not going to talk about it afterwards. Like, they repaired it. Maybe they'll look at each other. Maybe like every once in a while they'll just talk about it. But for the most part,
when you go to bed, you'll cry a little.
Yeah, it's just this ongoing repression that they're going to have to endure for the remainder of their lives. And and that's the form his revenge takes as he dies in a sort of Christ pose, trying to.
He finally lets them kill. And imagine being the chicken shit guy that struck the first blow when his arms were wide and he didn't even have a wooden sword butt in his hand anymore.
Yeah.
Pathetic.
Yeah. And then they're still so afraid of him, like rightly so. Like they're all standing around, swords pointing at him, where he's dead on the ground. And like, yeah, there's genuine fear in the room. Like, is he going to get up? Like, did we finally beat him?
People have scars, broken bones, major concussions.
Yeah, so the hope is that, I guess the hope out of this is that the next time someone shows up looking for charity, maybe you should just give it to them. Maybe you shouldn't be such a fucking prick, because maybe the spirit of vengeance is going to show up and dishonor your whole house, fuck you up.
Or that they'll just start to. I mean, for me, it's like you described it too. Could it even be like a poison to the system?
Mm-hmm.
Like to say these houses are like, did he just destroy all the houses personally?
Yeah, I mean, the samurai. My understanding is that their behavior did that enough for them. But I mean, like, this movie, even though it is visceral and I'm not going to say realistic, because that fight at the end is not realistic, but it has enough sort of realism to it, or enough like central drama recognizable, like we were already talking about. Like, your family could get struck down by illness. You could be in such dire fucking straits that you don't know what you're going to do, and you're going to go to extremes. And so that's real. But the revenge that is enacted is like, this whole movie is still sort of allegorical, despite its gestures toward realism, and it's an allegory for like how and why the samurai as a class fell as a class at the conclusion of the Edo period, because they were not held in any regard, is my understanding from a sort of a glance at history thus far. Like, the the samurai were able to become popularized only once they were forgotten. And like the final generation of the previously disgraced samurai had passed, and no one remembered what samurai were actually like. And then we filled in the gaps with all this bullshit that we tell ourselves. And this movie kind of, and like Seven Samurai and other samurai movies of the era, that's the kind of the story that they're telling. They're poking holes in the myth, just as this guy is. Yeah.
There's some Japanese people out there sad about this.
Yeah, sorry, sorry, Japanese people. I'm sure they're aware. I mean, they've been living in this cultural critique for longer than we've been alive.
That's true, and still, their culture is cooler than ours because we history is real dicey.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, apples and oranges. I would never want to go to Tokyo. I would like to maybe like teleport there and be there for a little bit. Maybe for a day or something, but too fucking busy.
Is it busy? Is it that busy?
I think so. What's Tokyo?
Are they okay on tourists?
I have no idea. Probably. Very probably. I can't see how they wouldn't. Like you mean like Western tourists?
Yeah.
And yeah, for sure. Because I mean they were colonized by the Americans post World War II. So, and I don't think they really have much of a. Actually, I was gonna say they don't really have much of a trade if they can't trade with North America, because I don't think them and China get along very well. But I could very easily be mistaken about that. Yeah. So anyway, I wanted you to watch this. I knew you'd love it because it's a banger.
I love it.
Yeah.
Also, your boy Hanshiro,
Mm-hmm.
he's the blade of the immortal.
Oh yeah, all right. He was very good, like as far as the choreography and everything. I don't know if he used a stunt double in this. I didn't actually look. But
I doubt it. I mean,
yeah.
If you can fight with a sword, you can't just be the blade of the immortal and this guy and not fight with a sword in real life.
Yeah, I meant to look into that guy. What's his name? Ichikawa Ibuzizi.
He's not in a lot of movies.
Okay.
But I mean, you don't have to be in a lot of movies to.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in this and the blade of the immortal, you've got my thumbs up.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch The Blade of the Immortal?
Yeah, we covered it together for the podcast.
Did we?
I believe that we did.
Acorn memory.
Yeah.
You fail me again.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because we. Yeah, we definitely did. Yeah.
Because we love Takashi Miike.
Yeah, and because I remember reading the comics for some reason, and I remember. Yeah, we've covered Audition, we've done Blade of the Immortal, we've done this. I don't think we've done anything else from Takashi. But I think at one point we were talking about doing like a quarterly check-in, but I think Junji Ito takes that role.
Yeah, 13 Assassins is not the same director though, right?
No, it is. Yeah,
it is him again.
Yeah.
That's a great one. Now that's one where you get your blood.
That's another remake too, is my understanding. So I don't know what compelled him at this time to want to remake.
That one's Seven Samurai again, and is similar to the cowboy one.
Oh, it's Magnificent Seven.
Yeah.
No, I think 13 Assassins though is like a genuine remake, like not a homage to Seven Samurai, but like. I'm pretty sure I'll go on a limb and say that there's an old 60s movie called 13 Assassins, and then Takashi just picks it up again.
The evil, what's his name?
The Saito?
Yeah, Saito's in a lead in 13 Assassins also.
Yeah. So he goes back to the well on certain guys, and rightly so.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's like I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
Tarantino does that too.
Yeah, well, if you got your people, you got your people. I don't think Takashi is able to do that given the output, like just the tremendous directorial effort that he puts in. Like as he was finishing up Death of the Samurai, I was reading an interview, and he's like, yeah, I had a pretty good budget and everything was good. The cast is good and I had a great time. And like, but I'm also about to do something for TV. I'm going to direct a season of a TV show where we just have like an atrociously bad budget. But he was like, I'm pretty excited because there's things you can do with a bad budget that, anyway, he's just very busy. He's all over the place. So I can't see him keeping the same team.
It's cool. It's cool that someone would be excited about using a small budget. Also, I mean, that would speak to a high skill level.
Yeah, no, it's absurd. Like to make 3, 4, 5 movies in a single year, as I believe that he's been able to do throughout his career, and direct in movies, and he does all the different genres. It's so weird, and like I couldn't possibly, and I won't ever watch all that stuff. I'm never going to do like a proper retrospective on this guy because I don't have enough time for that. And I bet some of them suck pretty fucking hard. But others, every once in a while, like he's just working so hard that he's hammering at the anvil over and over and over, and every once in a while, like a bright spark comes up and lights the air. And this is one of them. I gotta say. I mean, having not seen the other anvil strikes, but
that's fair. That's a great way to end it.
Now all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.